So yeah, I'm Katelyn. I was a participant in 2010 with Kelvin, and getting to Germany as a CBYX participant, the first 6 weeks were spent together as the group of 25 in Bonn, Germany, so the former capital, and there we attended language training for about 6 weeks, and between the 25 amongst the 25 of you, you'll be split up into different levels, varying how much German experience you've already had. So people in CBYX, honestly, German is not required to have prior to going to Germany, but because we do have the beginner level and the intermediate and the advanced level of German language, I was in the intermediate level class, which was fine because all the advanced kids were doing crazier things that I just wanted to be comfortable with what I was doing, with what I was learning, and at the pace that I kind of wanted to go at. So the intermediate classes where I found myself, and then after 6 or so weeks in Bonn, we were split up and dispersed around Germany, and I found myself in southern Germany, in Freiburg, with a very, very nice family, and I stayed with them for the full 10 months, and this was before Germany enacted the law that we could only have internships for 3 months at a time. So I actually started, first I started school at an all-girls gymnasium in Freiburg, which was a very interesting experience for me, because I've never been to an one-gender school before. But it was fine because I had my host sister, and I became friends with her friends, and we all got along great. But then after, I was in school for about a month, and then I started my internship, which was at the Diakonie Krankenhaus in Freiburg, Germany. So I was interning at a hospital 5 days a week, and some days I had to be there right away at 6 a.m. Other days I didn't have to come in until 1 p.m., but then I would be there later. So it was really very interesting getting that experience that I had, especially, like Sue said, the way that Germany teaches their students in the medical professions is very hands-on. So I was over in Germany as, a CBYX participant at 18 years old, with zero kind of official training here. I was not CNA certified, but I was doing things that my sister in nursing school now hasn't even been able to do. So that's truly the most fascinating thing to me, was the hands-on experience that I got. Obviously now I'm no longer interested in the medical field, but had I not had my internship in Germany for 7 months in this hospital, I don't think I would have been so set on the fact that I didn't want to go to medical school anymore. I was able to have, I did have one internship, but I was able to switch departments of the hospital probably 4 or 5 times. So I saw pretty much everything in this hospital that I was at. And they always kept telling me, Katelyn, if you need a job after you graduate, come back to us. So that was really cool. They all loved having me there. But then, let's see, after my internship, with my internship too, it was always kind of a guessing game as to what I would be doing each day. I spent probably the most time in the internal medicine ward, which was older patients and taking care of them and doing vitals and giving medication and just things like that. So it was truly such a hands-on experience that people don't get here until after graduating from nursing school. So yes, the internships were a very, very important aspect of, obviously, the CBYX program. Let's see.
A Berlin seminar?
The Berlin seminar. So there are 2 seminars throughout the year. The first one is in January, and and that's the big mid-year seminar where the 25 participants are reunited for the first time after separating in Bonn, beginning of September, late August-ish. So that is a very incredible experience as well. We got to learn so much about Berlin. Obviously there's a lot of cultural history there, and there was a lot of museums that we were taken to. And Hartwig, the former program director, he is very knowledgeable and taught us so much at each of these seminars that we went to. And I can't remember what his name was, but we even had a little tour, like a tour guide with us.
Ronnie Goetz.
Ronnie. Mm-hmm. It was Ronnie. And he took us to all of the really interesting museums about the Holocaust and like the Jewish Memorial Museum, and we learned a lot. And that's also where you have the mid-year interview with Hartwig and the other program directors in Germany to see, like, kind of catch up with you. How are you doing? How are things with your host family and your local rep, and just keeping an eye out on us, making sure that we're all, you know, where we're supposed to be at the 6-month mark in Germany. After the Berlin seminar in January, time seemed to fly by, because all of a sudden we were at the final Berlin seminar in May, where we kind of wrapped things up. We were together as a group, the 25 of us, for the last time ever, because 2 people missed their flight on the way home. So, our last time all together was, that last week in May. But then after the Berlin seminar in May, students are offered the opportunity for, I think, 2 weeks of kind of free travel. Obviously, that needs to be approved by your local representative. But that was also probably one of the most magnificent experiences I've ever had, was the last 2 weeks after the final Berlin seminar, because me and my fellow CBYX participants, we did some traveling, and that's when you really get to put your German skills to the test that you've learned all year, and the independent skills that you learn while being so young in a foreign country. The 4 of us were just, 4 Americans traveling across Europe, and we did it very successfully. So I think that's kind of a test at the end to see, like, here are all the things that you've learned throughout the year. Now can you do it on your own? And I think CBYX was a very good, what's the word I'm looking for? Facilitator for learning these, and then for learning these skills, these very important life skills, and then putting them to that final test, essentially. But throughout the year, living with my host family, I think that was the absolute key, was having the fabulous host family that I had. I became very close with them, still talking to them now. But my host sister was also, actually, like, this just dawned on me last week. My host sister was a participant of our academic year program here at Nacel Open Door, and so she was also very understanding of being a host student and how to host somebody and how to, be that kind of a support system for a host student or an exchange student. So that bond that you create with a host family that kind of knows what you're going through and kind of knows how to adapt to you, as well as, like, you learning how to adapt to them. I think that was very, very helpful. The rest of the family was also very active in musical instruments. My host mother played her accordion every day for 3 hours a day right next to my bedroom. So that was fun. But I learned to appreciate other people's hobbies and not necessarily take them as my own hobbies, but I just don't really have a disdain towards accordions anymore. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? That's kind of my year in a very small nutshell. Obviously there are things that were missed out on while I was in Germany. I chose to attend my host father's 50th, like huge 50th birthday party instead of going to Oktoberfest in Munich, which all my friends went to, and they're like, oh, it's so much fun, Katelyn, like, why aren't you here? But had I not stayed in Freiburg and gone to my host dad's 50th birthday party, like, I would not have met all of their friends, for one, and all of their family. And it was a very cool experience to be like, yes, hi, I'm here, I am their exchange student. And that was just a very once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I know someday I'll go back and get to Oktoberfest, but yeah, so like really taking those family moments and not taking them for granted, and just being in the moment and experiencing life as a German in a German host family. I think that was the single most rewarding thing about the Congress-Bundestag Vocational Youth Exchange Program. I'm not sure, I haven't talked, it's been a couple of weeks since I've talked to my host family, but they always, almost 5 years later, they still tell me that they want me to come back, and I, of course, would love to go back and visit them, because I miss Germany dearly, but here I am now, kind of living vicariously through the new participants. So yes, does anybody have any questions about anything, internship-wise or host family?
Did you speak German to your host family? Or that party that you had at the end of the year, all the family? Did they speak German, or was it English?
I went into Germany with prior experience in high school with German, and my host dad's 50th birthday party was actually towards the beginning of the year, which was kind of intimidating because, yes, I did have to speak a lot of German, and my host family is from southern Germany, and they speak a dialect of German, which is Schwäbisch, and it's just a completely different language. So when I first met my host grandparents for the very first time, they live in this tiny little town called Bad Waldsee, and they only speak Schwäbisch, and the first time I had a conversation with these elderly people in Bad Waldsee, I could not understand a word they were saying to me, and my host mom had to be like, Katelyn, he asked you like the question, because I was just laughing, like nodding my head, yeah, sure, yeah. But then right before I left the country, prior to my departure from Freiburg, I met with my host grandparents one more time and had a full-on conversation of Schwäbisch with my host grandfather, which was really cool. I probably couldn't do that now because, it's been a while, but yeah, like really immersing yourself in that culture and that language and becoming part of the dialect, it was just, I don't know how I did it, now that I think about it, but yeah.
And are classes taught in High German then?
Yes.
Okay.
So the school that I went to was all High German. Everybody, most people in the hospital that I encountered spoke High German.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the elderly obviously used Schwäbisch, but for the most part it was all High German.
And then with the schools, does everyone go to a gymnasium, or do some people go to the more the vocational technical schools? How does that work?
That is where Germany is a very interesting country. A lot of students will be split, I think, before they even get to that gymnasium period in their lives. From there, they'll be able to decide whether or not they want to go into more of a technical school or into the gymnasium where they want to take the Abitur and eventually go to university. But then following well, I don't have the 13th year anymore, but following the Abitur in the gymnasiums, the German high schools, students now either have to do 1 year of Zivildienst, that's German, 1 year of civil service or a year of, civil service or
military.
Military, yeah. So students will be working like I'm pretty sure they were unpaid internships as well. There were a couple kids my age doing their civil Dienstjahr with me in the hospital when I was there. So they're my age, but still kind of in that weird transition period after high school where they didn't know exactly what they were going to do next, but they had to either go into the military or do some kind of like volunteering year.
But for the CBYX
Yeah,
students?
most of our students are placed in the gymnasium.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry.
depending, I mean, again, several of the young people who've gone over in engineering have found themselves in a school mainly for the science, technology, and terminology, and not in the gymnasium, but it was more geared to what they were going to be doing.
Like our
So
tech schools.
many of them are in a gymnasium, many of them can be in whatever's best for the student. Each participant's experience is going to be quite different. And that's what we really like about this program. It's not what we call the cookie cutter approach. Everybody's experience will be tailor-made for them.
So if you are accepted, do you know before you go what your internships will be, or do you find that out as you move along?
Internships are kind of, what's the right word for them? A lot of students don't know what their internships will be upon their arrival in Germany. I don't think I knew. I can't remember. But it's all about the local representative picking the right students that they can set up for really good internships. I think my local rep just happened to know the gynecologist that worked in the Diakonie Krankenhaus, and that's how I got my foot in the door as an intern in that hospital. But it's a hit or miss whether or not students have internships right away coming into Germany, or if that's something that they have to meet with their local rep to talk more about, like, hey, what are you interested in, and like what kind of things would you like to do?
They'll be put in their schooling first.
Yeah,
And
for school.
Schooling you first isn't necessarily then dependent on what your internship is. It's not like you have 6
Correct.
months of training in something that's applicable to your internship.
Right.
It's separate. Okay.
And the school, like, I was only in school for a month. Some people were in school for 3 months maybe, but it really depends on level of language skills or level of like the German language that you are at, and then how comfortable you are with beginning an internship. I actually started, now that I'm thinking about it more, I did have an internship before starting school because it was just a 2-week like English teacher position at an organization in Freiburg that my local rep was like, hey, this would be really beneficial to our Germans here to be taught by a real live American. So I did that for 2 weeks and then I started school.
And then after you started your first internship, did you go back to school ever?
No.
Or no?
So once I started at the hospital, I was in the hospital 5 days a week in my scrubs.
And how long did that last?
From about it was probably late October to early May, or mid-May.
How was it speaking German with like other students at your school? Did they want to speak English to you because it was easier, or was it?
Yes. Fortunately, well, since it was an all-girls school, they weren't like hounding me like to be, the American, like speak English with me. But I had to advocate for myself and be like, no, this is my year in Germany. I'm speaking German. A lot of times with my host sister, she loves speaking English. She spent a year in Florida, so she loved English, and sometimes, yes, I would have to be like, okay, I just need to tell you this one thing, like really quick, like, auf English, please, or something like that. But for the most part, I was very keen on sticking to German.
And the same for the other family members, they're supportive of the family members too want to speak.
Right.
They know that you want to speak.
Yes.
Learning German is part of this thing,
Yeah.
and so they're not going to.
Yeah, and they wanted to help me learn German
Yeah.
too, because obviously I wasn't up to par with their German.
Sure.
But every chance that they had to correct me or tell me what a vocab word is, they helped me out a lot.